Hello everyone, this is our second part to our series looking at Juji Uke, or X-block or cross-block, and looking at applications of it in different kata. Ironically, we're not going to look at it as a block quite yet. So last week we looked at how you could use it as a strangle in an application from Pinan Yondan, just as an example. This week I'm going to stick with the same sequence from Pinan Yondan, but we're going to look at an application of it where the same movement, instead of acting as a strangle, can be utilised as an arm lock. And then next week we'll look at how you can use it as a nerve hold, and then the final week we'll look at a few other different applications from different points in different kata. So if you're new to the channel, we do videos every Friday, so please feel free to subscribe if you've not done so already. Please click like, please put a comment, say hi, that'd be great. Okay, so let's go on with it. So the sequence that we looked at last week was, if I just do it from here, we came one, we took, we came here, and we did the strangle. So we're looking at this sequence of Pinan Yondan, 1, 2, 3. We talked about some variations of that. So I'm going to stick with that exact same sequence. So the punch comes, and we've got the same block coming in, okay? But this time, rather than attacking the neck, I'm going to make use of this hand. So this hand, as well as covering, allows me to create tension in the arm. So when I'm here, I can pull. So I can get the arm nice and straight. Now, as I'm going to do this next movement, this hand's going to come back and come over the top and pull into the elbow. So if you think of the kata, you're here, and most styles have some movement where these arms pull in. Right? So it's particularly this hand pulling in that I want to put emphasis on. So this hand is pulling, this hand is pulling our movement back. Then I can step forward and come into my X block, which is now a version of Ushiro ude gurami, or backhammer lock. So from here, when we do it in the version of the kata's done with a reasonable amount of speed. So we're looking at one, and then just straight through. So because it's a karate application as opposed to a jiu-jitsu application or anything like that, it's not designed to lock your opponent particularly, it's just designed to break the arm. So if I go down towards the head, it doesn't particularly come on very effectively, so I don't want the arm to come in this way. I want to lever it away from the body, right, which puts a lot more tension on, whilst ideally trying to keep the shoulder down. Right? That will be my movement. So if I block it with my elbow, I can get the lock. Another option is that I can put a wrist lock on at the same time, so I can have 1, 2, let's call that a bog off, buy one get one free. Another option from there is, that's what the basic bunkai gives you, but then I can also slip and come to here. It's still another version of backhammer, which is effectively what the cat is teaching me, and I can have my arms this way. Now this way is better because my hip is now blocking the shoulder, right? So I come through to there, and I can lever away and break, right? So one more time. So 1, 2. As I come back, I have this tension, this hand pulls, so I'm rippling at the elbow. If I do this and reach over the top, that's going to be no good because it's going to punch my kidneys to bits, right? Or the back of my head, right? So I don't want to be reaching over, I just saw the elbow, right? One more time. Here, right? So it's the elbow that gives me the control. Then I can step through, contract the foot if I want as well, and then I would break, right? Then we have application, and we come here. The next move, the kata, from here, we talked about last week how that could be an elbow, from following on from the back strangle. We talked about how it could be from here. Just another thought on that. So when I come through, is to step through. This pulls down, this pulls up. For training, I'll be nice to Mike and let him up. Right? Outside, I want to keep the shoulder down, so I won't get past this point here. And that's my movement that I'm going to come up as a control and restraint technique. So have a play with that, see what you think. Other options, just other things to think about. So when I'm here, we talked about this need for tension, right? Last week we said that an option is that I can come out to the side here. This works particularly well for this technique, right? More so than perhaps the strangle. So that's another thing you might want to think about, the angle on that first move. When you roll, whichever version you do come through, whether I'm here or whether I'm here, you must remember that Ushiro ude gurami, or backhammer lock, is fundamentally a shoulder lock. So I want to be levering the arm away and keeping the shoulder down. If I let him lift the shoulder up, he's going to come up and uppercut me and we're going to get into a fight, which I don't really want. So if I've come through and I've slipped, I get my hip past his shoulder and I want my little finger edge cutting down. So just turn you this way. Don't put your hand this way, because even if I get my hip in and I'm nice and strong, if Mike decides he wants to stand up, he will. Right? There's not a great deal I can do from there mechanically. Instead, what I want to do is I'm going to cut my little finger edge down. So that's the position. Now when Mike decides he wants to stand up, mechanically I have the advantage. So that gives me an awful lot more of a position of posture. The moment I turn to there, because my elbow is out, I've lost my initiative. So I want to make sure my little finger edge is down. A couple of things to then think about. Let's go beyond the kata now. So we have this application. What happens if he keeps going and he rolls? Okay. Well, we don't negate the obvious. So first of all, we have the head. You can then come up into the wrist lock. I can swivel and come over, keeping the back hammer. If I throw this leg over here, that will stop him rolling, and I can still get the back hammer. If I don't throw that leg over, you can then roll, which is okay. Then just switch into Juji Gatame. So Juji being crossed again, so this is Juji Gatame arm bar as opposed to Juji Uke, which is cross block. One more time. So from here, if he rolls over, I can come straight in if that's what I prefer, and get the arm lock across the hip. You can vary the hands however you prefer, this way, this way. The foot, right? The basic way is to have it on the floor. What you want to try and do, as you come in, is try and slot the foot under the shoulder. So if my foot is in this position, that does give me enough capacity to roll, and then we've got to go into something else, like a triangle choke or a round kick. But if I come over, as I come in, I want to try and slip that underneath, and that will negate his ability to do his backward rolls easily, and then I can keep my lock. Of course, I can do all my other locks, all my other techniques. I can play as much as I want to with ground technique once I'm at that point. If your training does include ground fighting, because you don't like it, or that doesn't matter, just when you're there, if he rolls, don't forget the obvious. I can run, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because remember, the purpose of the technique is to drive, is to just snap. And so don't always feel like you need to follow. If I've got my escape route, use it, okay? So that's just thinking about Juji Uke, cross block, X block, as an application for an arm bar. In this case, Ushiro ude gurami. You may hear this technique called other things. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's commonly referred to as the kimura, after the judo fighter. But the Japanese name is Ushiro ude gurami. Ushiro means rear or back, ude is arm, gurami means entanglement. But in kata, this movement is where you come into your X block, is very, very similar to this exact same position you would do if you drove your arms through to there. So for us, this is one of the applications we include when we're looking at this particular movement of Juji Uke. So next week we'll have a look at an example, not from the same section of kata this time, but looking at how you can use it as a nerve hold to attack the arms. And then, like I say, we'll look at some other applications the following week. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please click like and hopefully see you next week.